Trustee Lancaster.
Very good. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have payments for various projects for 11M1, 11M2, 11M3, and 11M4. Can we have those all lumped together?
The motion is just for the lump sum of all of them. So payments for the various village projects. Number one is Harrison Commerce Park certificate for payment number one for $357,792.33. Number two, municipal generator project certificate for payment number two for $57,215.45. Number three, 2025 asphalt street resurfacing certificate for payment number one for $477,056.65. And number four, Crossroads Business Park certificate for payment number nine for $61,761.44. And the motion is to approve the various payments under contract for the work totaling. I think there was a misprint in the memo, but it should be a grand total of $953,825.87 for the four projects I listed.
Trustee Baldwin.
I was going to make a motion, but I made that. Do we need to correct this? The dollar amount?
The dollar amount for each is correct, it's just the grand total.
Right.
So it would be $953,825.87. But each individual 1 through 4, I believe Chad had listed correctly, it's just the grand total was incorrect.
So we can make a motion, or I can make a motion on that then. Okay. That's what I'd like to do, make a motion to approve the various various payments for under contract work. Totaling $953,825.87.
That's correct. Trustee Thiel.
I'll second that.
So we got a motion by trustee Baldwin and a second by trustee Thiel. Any discussion? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next item is 11M.
This is the approval of proposal with RF Consulting to update the zoning ordinance update for $71,162. And the motion is to approve the proposal from SRF Consulting for $71,162 regarding the zoning ordinance update.
Trustee Lancaster.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal from SRF Consulting for $71,162 regarding the zoning ordinance update.
Trustee Van Haffey.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by trustee Lancaster and a second by trustee Van Haffey. Any discussion? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have 11O.
This is the approval of new playground system at Harrison Athletic Association from Lee Recreation LLC. And the motion is to approve the new playground at Harrison Athletic Association from Lee Recreation LLC for $58,708.
Trustee Brennan.
Make a motion for Harrison Athletic Association for $58,708.
Trustee Thiel.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by trustee Brandmeier and a second by trustee Thiel. Any discussion? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up is 11P.
This is the approval of a quote from Bayland Buildings to repair the Harrison Utilities building for $16,407. And the motion is to approve the bid for $16,407 from Bayland Buildings to repair the building structure.
Is that 15 or 16?
Sorry, it's 16.
Okay. Look at their motion in a second. Trustee Deal.
I'll make the motion to approve the bid for $16,407 from Beyond Buildings to repair the building structure at Harrison Utilities.
Trustee Brandmeyer.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by trustee Deal and a second by trustee Brandmeyer. Any discussion? Having no discussion, please vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have 11R.
11-2. This is the approval of vacant land offered to purchase by Ryan Giordano or a.
Oh, I'm sorry, Q, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Approval of vacant land offered to purchase by Ryan Giordano or assigns for lots 1 and 2 in the Crossroads Business Park. And the motion is to approve the vacant land offered to purchase lots 1 and 2 in the Crossroads Business Park.
Looking for a motion in a second here. Trustee Van Hefty,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the approval of the vacant land offered purchased by Ryan Giordano for signed lots of 1 and 2 in the Crossroads Business Park as printed circular.
trustee Teal.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion by trustee Van Hefty and a second by trustee Deal. Is there any discussion? Trustee Lancaster.
Just a question on this, since they're looking to buy 2 lots, do those that are getting combined into one before they start building then, or how do we see that working?
Yes, the building will be on lot 1 and parking will be on lot 2 and they plan to consolidate them.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Trustee Van Hefty, your mic is on. Did you want to speak to that?
I don't know.
If there's no further discussion, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, 11R.
This is the approval of dump body package, snow plows and salt spreader for the new 2027 plow truck with Monroe Truck. And the motion is to approve the bid from the preferred vendor Monroe for the dump body package, plows and salt spreader for $203,722.
If I can just mention, Chair, this is in the capital improvements plan for 2027. However, it's a 2-year time frame before we're gonna even see this piece of equipment, so we're starting that process. So hopefully we have a plow truck that can go on our road in 2027 versus starting that in 2027.
Thank you for that information. Trustee Lancaster.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Monroe for the dump body package, plows and salt spreader for $203,742.
Trustee Deal.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by trustee Lancaster and a second by trustee Deal. Any discussion? With no discussion, let's go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up is 11S.
This is the approval of purchase of a John Deere 624 P-tier wheel loader. And the motion is to approve the purchase of a John Deere 624 P-tier wheel loader for $262,624.
Looking for a motion in a second here. Trustee Brandmeyer.
Make a motion to purchase a John Deere 24 E-tier wheel loader for $262,624.
Trustee Boltman.
I'll second.
So we have a motion by trustee Brandmeyer and a second by trustee Baldwin. Any discussion? Trustee Teal,
All I would say real briefly is that this was included in our 2025-26 capital improvements plan. We've already borrowed the funding for this, so.
Chad, is this replacing an existing piece of equipment or is this a new additional?
It'll be a new additional until, in 2 years, there's one Volvo that's going off the market and that will be traded in and then we'll have all John Deere's. So for 2 years, it's gonna be an addition and then we'll be getting rid of this one.
Okay. Is this, so I'll lump this in with the next item as well, because those two go together, but the question would pertain to both of them. In your comments, you mentioned not having to rent piece of equipment, and we looked into the cost of, and done a cost comparison of renting instead of owning.
We did look at renting instead of owning, the cost of renting it for like 8 or 9 months is what they rented it. Is very close to what, over a 2-year period over what we would be paying for it. So it appeared that it made more sense to own it versus renting it, because we still have to buy the tires and the buckets and everything else that go on it. So when we looked at it, it made more sense for us to own it instead of renting.
How many months is this primarily winter use? You said 9 months. It's this.
Well, it's obviously the plow in the salt and wing that's on the next item is the winter months, but this is used pretty much all year. But the gist of the work is usually in fall with the compost site and then the winter for snowfall.
Okay, thank you.
any more questions? Trustee Lancaster.
I guess that goes to my question, Joe Points, you answered part of it, but I just was looking at this where at 5,500 a month rental, just trying to do that math here a bit, where it's more than 5 months, then I guess your payback's a little sooner, but always it was like a 10-year there, so. Page 251, I guess I'm just trying to understand that a little bit, but. But if you guys have done all the math, then I guess that's what it is.
I don't know what that 5,500 per month, that's not in all inclusive because the tires are $700 or $800 a piece on top of it, so we have to replace them each time, so Jeff did all the calculations and it determined that it was over the course of keeping these things for 10 years, it was more cost effective to hold.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this particular item? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have 11T.
This is the approval for the plow and wing for the new wheeled loader for $54,536 from Monroe. And the motion is to approve the purchase of a plow and wing for the new wheeled loader for $54,536 from Monroe.
Trustee Van Happy,
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the plow and wing of the new wheel loader for 54,536 from Monroe.
trustee Brown.
No second.
So we have a motion by trustee Van Happy and a second by trustee Brandmeyer. Any discussion? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have item 11U, and before we get to that, there's a handout here. The item in red is what would need to be added to the motion as an amendment, so please keep that in mind as Alyssa reads off this.
So this is the approval of memorandum of understanding between the Village of Harrison Harrison Utilities and GEM Family LLC regarding utility extension. The original motion was to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Village of Harrison, Harrison Utilities and GEM Family LLC for utility extension off of Woodland Road. And then the amendment says, although the parties agree and understand that agreements to agree, such as this MOU, e.g. the future developers agreement to be entered into by the parties has not been yet negotiated and are not binding.
Yeah.
The rest of okay. The parties agree to work together in a cooperative and coordinated manner in a good faith attempt to achieve each party's individual goals and the collective goals of both parties.
So that additional information was added by Andy last Friday after the agenda was posted, and hence the reason why we're recommending an amendment, because he doesn't want the future developers agreement to be binding at this stage, because we have not negotiated.
Gotcha. So I'm looking for a motion in a second here.
Scott, is it possible to get a 2-minute explanation of this one?
Sure, Chad, why don't you, inform the general audience here of what this item is for?
Sure, so off of Woodland in the Modders property, which is Gem Family LLC, it's a parcel of land north of Lake Harrison Heights subdivision. The village has been working with them to extend the utilities up because there's no utilities in Manitowoc Road east of Woodland School. So all those parcels that are east of Woodland School, including Farmers Field Park, have no access to utilities. There's been a request for some development to happen in those parcels. So under this agreement, the Harrison Utilities and the village would extend utilities out through the Modder property, and pay for an easement for that, and then special assessing all of the affected property owners in that area, either through deferred assessments or assessments paid right away. But the intent is that everybody that would benefit from this would pay for it. The village Harrison Utilities would construct it through the Modder property to service those parcels and to service Farmers Field. So as we build a new pavilion there, we don't have to put a well and septic in. We have a means of getting water and sewer.
So this is only utility.
This is only for water and sewer.
Okay.
Water and sewer, not gas.
Right.
Is that any other questions, Don?
Well, thank you.
Okay. Perfect, and I'm looking for a motion and a second. Again, this is just a memorandum of understanding, so. Trustee Baldwin,
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU between Village of Harrison, Harrison Utilities and the Gem Family LLC regarding utility extension off Woodland Road.
trustee Brett.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by trustee Baldwin and a second by trustee Brett. Any discussion?
Only another thing I want to say under discussion is there's a piece in here about waive villages right to allow modders to work with McMahon. So given that we're trying to put this in a new roadway and the land isn't platted yet, I think there's some benefit in McMahon continuing to work on kind of the layout for this. However, in talking with Lee, I would recommend that another project manager in his office is assigned to that project. If they're gonna work with McMahon, they don't have a contract yet, but if that happens, that Lee's not the primary, so Lee can continue to represent the village, and then the other project manager can represent the modders, and and we can work through it that way. I think most situations, we want to allow McMahon to do private development in the village, but given that we're trying to do this in the right manner through someone's property, I think it makes sense.
Trustee Theo.
Chad, can you explain the use of the word easement here then in the purchase, if you will, of an easement? As easements, from my understanding, are the permission to use my land for your purpose.
That's exactly correct. So we would get a 30-foot easement through their property. We would pay the equivalent of 30,000 minus any expenses the village has incurred to date on doing some layouts and wetland delineations. So whatever is left, the utility would pay the difference, and if it's the other way where there's more owed to us, they would pay us back. The utility easement would primarily go north to south, north of Woodland, through the 40 acres and then to the east and west, kind of to jog in to connect to the back of Farmers Field property. And then at such stage that they develop this and the road goes there, the easement ultimately would go away because we would get the dedication of the road right away.
We then have to turn around and purchase that land, then that 66 feet, we would just assume ownership of it.
We would get that dedicated to us as part of the road dedication of the subdivision. So we have no timeline as to when that would happen.
Is this commonplace to on the output for an easement for utilities?
Yes,
Okay,
we're working on another one for the utility over North Shore Golf Club, so.
thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot, please. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have 11B.
This is ordinance V 25-09, an ordinance to adopt an update to the Village of Harrison Comprehensive Plan. And the motion is to approve ordinance V 25-09, an ordinance adopting the 2045 Village of Harrison Comprehensive Plan.
Trustee Lancaster,
We make a motion, to approve ordinance V 25-09 for adopting the 2045 Village of Harrison Comprehensive Plan.
trustee Van Happy.
No, second.
So we have a motion by trustee Lancaster and a second by trustee Van Happy. Any discussion? Trustee Baldwin.
Yes, I want to vote no, and I wanted to explain the reason that I'm voting no to the public. I know that this comprehensive plan has been a long time coming and there's been a lot of thoughts and public input on it. But real honestly, I can't vote for a comp plan that ignores the feedback from our residents. And did not have full plan commission involvement. And very little public input on the changes that were made at the at the June 25th meeting, I believe it was. I've been passionate about the senior housing concept and the changes that were kind of last minute made at the June meeting, which I did vote against 4 of the 5. We pretty much took medium density housing where there would be more of an opportunity to have senior housing and made that light density housing again without any outcry of public input. When we had a joint meeting between the plan commission and the board members who were there, that did not seem to be a stumbling block at all, but it is what it is. It was voted on. So that was part of it. I guess the other part, that as a senior citizen, living in Harrison and having lived here for quite a long time, the comment that were made, and Mr. Milky, you brought that up about not having enough EMTs to service people. I just feel like at this point, I'm going to age out of being able to live in this community from a housing standpoint, very possibly a services point. I don't know if Trustee Lancaster made that comment and he was a spokesperson for the fire department, or if that was a personal bias that he held. But I'm very disappointed personally that I live in a community, I serve on a board for a community where I'm not going to be able to speak on behalf of people like myself for the public health, senior housing, whether it be independent apartment dwellings or, condo or cottage style. So I wanted to explain that that's why I'm voting no. It's not just for no reason.
Thank you. Trustee Lancaster.
Thank you. So definitely not against senior housing. And the adjustment that we made to the language at our last board meeting was not to include senior housing. It was like nursing homes and assisted living facilities, which are very burdensome on a volunteer fire department. And if the community does not want to be having to spend, I've heard from the community that they love their volunteer fire department and they do not want to be having to spend and pay for a full-time rear department, not have our volunteers. You cannot have nursing homes and assisted living facilities that are does have costs that are associated with it. Nothing wrong with them. We need to still, people need to have places to live. But it's what we're looking for, actual residents in, for regular senior housing. I believe we definitely do need to address that, and that is absolutely no problem, and people need to be able to live in age and like keep their homes. And in fact, one of the items that I've had numerous conversations with the village manager about, and I'm excited for as we get into this zoning ordinance revision that we coming up and that we'll be working as a board here, is I believe we've got to really look at our accessory dwellings. Right now, we restrict a accessory dwelling, for example, to only 600 square feet. That's pretty small. And I believe there's a lot more opportunities for what I would call your mother-in-law suites and those kind of situations to allow individuals to take care of their elderly parents and things like that at the home. That is extremely important. In addition, the changes, and I was trying to find the exact definition here, but offhand, and only by the village manager a bit here too, are changes from medium density to low density residential. I believe that our definition of low density residential is still 4 to 8 housing units per acre. That is still allows for townhomes and things of that nature. In the medium density, just I believe it was 8, it was like 12 or something. I don't have a few of that page. I believe it's in there somewhere, but
Medium density is 4 to 8 homes per acre and residential is up to 5.8 units per acre.
Right.
okay, and what was the low density?
That is low density.
Okay, so low is still 4 to 8.
No,
What page are you on, Chad?
I'm on in the packet, it's page 325. Otherwise, it's page 63 of the plan. It says low density residential land and sewer areas designated for low density housing, mainly single and two family, clustered at up to 5.8 units per acre with street access may include limited neighborhood friendly development to encourage walking. Medium density land and sewer area designated for medium to moderate housing density ranging from 4 to 8 homes per acre, includes single family homes, duplexes, fourplexes, townhomes, and other missing middle housing types, designed to preserve neighborhood character while offering diverse housing options, including up to 6 unit residences.
Okay, thank you for that definition, and I guess that's my point, and where I think we're, the board, we kind of voted and went where we did, is that medium density residential, includes up to 6 unit residences, fourplexes. You get into more of the apartment style kind of things when you're talking, up to 6 unit residences versus your low density residential does still allow up to 5.8 units per acre. When you think of a lot of our lots, that's still a lot of housing. When an average lot in Harrison is between 1/4 and 1/3 of an acre, for single family at 5.8 units, that's still giving you a lot of density there. Also, want to point out, if you look at your typical uses and building forms, one of your key there is accessory dwellings, which is my point of where we have further work as we get into zoning that we can really give seniors some opportunity there and have children be able to take care of their parents in their same homes. So thank you.
It should also be noted that this is a plan, and a plan can change. The process needs to be followed, but through a public process, we can look at recommended changes to it as this goes, because it is a 20-year plan. You hope you plan for it, but things can change.
Trustee Dolan.
Thank you. I'd like to be optimistic about that. I guess no matter what either of us say, any of us say on the board, the proof will be whether or not in 5 or 10 years we have any senior housing. So I hope I'm around to be able to see that, but I'll hold out hope, but I'm not confident that we will act on something like that. So thank you.
Trustee Van Houten.
Yeah, what was the planning commission board on this?
It was unanimous.
Thank you.
And I'll just make one comment. I remember the gentleman here.
Oh, sorry. It was back to one Tammy voted against.
When the consultant here was talking about this very topic of senior housing, there's no way that you put in a comp plan in senior housing. You can't go on a comp plan and dedicate areas for senior housing. So he made that clear that the zoning, land use map, low density, high density does not preclude any of those, designations from being senior housing. So, I just wanted to state that, because I do remember the gentleman saying that no community puts senior housing in a comp plan. There's just no way to do it. Because you have to put in, land use, not type of dwellings. So just wanted to make that clear. Any other comments or discussions? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes with 1 no. Next up, we have 11W.
This is ordinance B 25-10, amending village ordinance B 23-02 to allow for the village board to approve periodic revisions to the boundaries and depicting map in which firing or discharging of any firearm with ammunition is prohibited. Staff recommends approving the ordinance amending the discharge of firearms.
So before we move on here, I would just like to say, I know the people here, when this was put on the agenda, the original thought was to, we needed to update the map because we do have subdivisions that have gone up and we do have the Commerce Park. Having, the packet come out, I had a conversation with Chad, and Chad kind of just told me, I knew we had to update this, so he just thought, he'd make a straight line. I'll tell everybody in this room, there was nothing malicious or malignant about what Chad had did. Chad is very new and he's a great guy. Was not looking to deter anybody from being able to hunt on their property. So I just wanted to lay that out there first and foremost. But that being said, I think personally, what we need to do is take the feedback and have the staff look at the DNR rules and what we have currently for subdivisions and future park needs, and basically redraw the map unless the board has another thought or feeling on this.
If we could get some direction from the board as to kind of, what the feeling is. I mean, one proposal that I had, that I shared with a number of you was to just include that kind of used Highway 10 as the dividing line. So anything in the north of 10 to State Park gets added, and then maybe none at this point, and in the future, we look at like one parcel in from County Highway 10. Which would allow a lot of these farmers that grow property owners that have large acreages to continue to hunt until such time. The line that I drew, as the chair said, was really not a malicious line. It was frankly related to the expansion of Harrison Utilities area to service this area, as well as the comprehensive plan. But at this stage, it can be drawn anywhere. I think the immediate need is the area primarily from Manitowoc to Schmidt. Although there is some other development along county and south of Manitowoc as well. So I guess if it was a special state, we would maybe we would maybe keep this little piece up here in and take out the rest of this down here, if that's acceptable to the board to consider it. Sure.
So I think you would need to draw a proposal, send it out for feedback, and then based on that feedback, and maybe if some of the landowners would like to have that information maybe posted on the website or something, or somewhere where they can access it and download it.
Yeah, sure.
And then bring it back to the next meeting and we can take a look at it then.
We can do that.
Scott, excuse me, but the goose season opens already the first Saturday in September, so can I go ahead and get a waiver like I have for the last 20-some years?
If that's our current problem, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just before we get to you, I got the gentleman here would like to say something.
Yeah, and
correct, anybody in here can correct me if I'm wrong. But would there be any opposition to increasing that area the way you have it on that map? But allowing anybody with 35 acres or more to acquire a waiver to discharge a firearm on their property as is right now.
So the waiver in the ordinance was taken out. Was that correct?
As like
That's
today.
what we do, that's what this ordinance does, is removing that waiver. Currently, it's 40 acres or more of.
No, excuse me, it's 35 acres or more. Still be agreed upon 20-some years ago, was 35 acres or more. Because the McCormick property across the road, they have 32 acres of work land, 31.5 acres of work land, and it comes up to a total of 35 acres. And the compromise we made years ago was 35. I was at the meeting. I know it was 35 acres.
Well, we have to go off of what's in the ordinance and she's looking it up, but I'm pretty sure the ordinance states 40 acres.
When did that change, I wonder?
But you know what I mean, Chad? The area.
I guess I understand what you're saying, but I looked here for the board on the waivers, the waiver exceptions can kind of get confrontational with certain people when they get denied. So that was the whole idea of just making it across the board, but if the board is interested in keeping the waiver process in there and doing it, you know, we're happy to do it.
I think it's hard to take something away that has already existed for many, many years, so
So I
I
think a lot of people happy by leaving the waiver in here. And
The opportunity for the waiver.
confrontation. Finger pointing.
It was made very clear to me years ago that I have taken 100% of the risk. And as I said, it's easy for me to put my thumb down on people when I question their sportsmanship by not allowing them to enter my property. And I use the excuse, well, you can't go because my grandsons are going. I just have that excuse built in. But the waiver puts the responsibility on the landlord. And the way it was explained to me that at any time, and if there's a complaint, then the complaint goes to the landlord. And you get so many complaints, and you lose your waiver. I don't want any complaints. So that's why I honor it.
guess you had a.
Yeah, so for instance, we're talking about either 35 acres or 40 acres. My neighbor only has 30 acres and he's a huge hunter. If I can make a suggestion, yeah, I'm all for a waiver. You come in the village hall, you sign a waiver, and say you take all responsibility. Per base, per landowner, I would recommend, or I would suggest, if we eliminate the acreage. And if the landlord has to come into the village and sign a waiver, at that point, it goes to the board and says, okay, this gentleman has 10 acres, let's look at the aerial map. Do we say yes or do we say no? Because again, if a person has hunter safety, everyone standing or sitting down and now we're all ethical hunters. We're not gonna put someone in danger. So I think it's a great idea what we're talking about. And I think the acreage should be eliminated in law per plot of land.
So our ordinance says 40 acres. I'm not sure when, there was a whole bunch of revisions, we're gonna have to go back and look at those revisions to see.
I think as far back as 2021
Or farther than that.
for the 40 acres.
Oh,
You see the 40 acres in there as of 2021. I didn't move the earlier ordinances.
Trustee Bremmeyer has the floor, he's done litigation, right?
Well, I'm ready to make a motion. Go back to the 40 acres.
Well, it's not on the agenda, it would have to come back.
This is on the agenda for if to do this, so I can't hunt it.
Because I think we can only vote on the amending of the existing ordinance, which is the boundaries and the map dictating. So I think I get what you're saying. And I think we get the feedback. I would just ask for a little leeway for staff to take this up and bring it back
I would agree with that, because I also would like to look into Mr. Milky's comments about the bow and arrow. With the village attorney, because that language has been in our ordinance forever. So if it's not allowed, we need to get that updated as well. So I think,
I think it was practicing. I think the issue at the time was people using schools for practicing in their backyards. So, but I agree though, if you're elevated and you're shooting downward, I don't see that an issue. It's when you're on the ground and shooting a crossbow, that I would say probably not a good idea.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. So
So ask the board to take a look at and simplifying this. That a person or landowner has a premise ID. Then we have right to protect that premise ID, we just charge a fine rate. And I think that can simplify things greatly, I really do.
I've not heard of the premise ID, but again, I would allow Chad to
Do the homework.
do the homework and bring some. Say, I really want to be on the opportunity to do something. So trustee Lancaster, you have a comment?
Thank you. So just looking at the references on this ordinance, I mean, there's references here back to June 8th of 1976. And in 2003 as well. So those are all times of the town. So this does go way back. What I think we really need to look at, what I would really wonder with this, looking at how square the original lines were, or I guess you got some rectangles, but I mean, there were some pretty straight lines here in the original ordinance before your proposed changes tonight. Or I also wonder if perhaps past just straight lines were drawn. And what I really believe needs to happen here, and I'm all for people being able to hunt safely. For the record, I can want to say that too here with this, is I really believe should work with Ryan Probson from the DNR, or our DNR representative in the area here.
Great reference.
And really look at what is truly needs to be addressed, where there's a safety concern, where there's not. I wonder if even some of these areas that were on the original map being here really should not be restricted. Because there is still, there is a development around there. And I also believe with it, and I also think this needs to go back to staff and not be rushed and really take some time to really work through this, is how do we notify landowners? How do we build this into some of our processes where if we're going to open this up, maybe a little bit more than what it was, but what's the processes as new subdivisions come in? And this might need to be, and people need to understand this, that it's, once you have those guidelines from the DNR, because they should be the experts in hunting and hunter safety, that then those guidelines need to be applied as well, building permits, subdivisions, even be individual houses being built that could preclude something. And then also people are aware is if they're looking to sell off a piece of their land for, maybe they're selling 5 acres, it's like, well, now if there's a house there, what safety guidelines can that change? So everybody knows the rules that they need to play by, utilizing the experts. And then also it's not relying on you guys as staff to be the experts either. Let's have the DNR be the experts that deal with this every day in the state.
you got our marching orders.
Yep, so I got trustee Van Happy's been waiting.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I strongly, first of all, I want to thank every private landowner for coming to the meeting tonight. And I apologize on behalf of this board for having this on the agenda with hardly no information to you guys ahead of time. So, I thought Don Melky, I thought, Paul Kiefer, Mr. Whitman back there, all had very good examples of what's going on. The process has been working. I've been living in Harrison now 25 years, very active in the area, different clubs and stuff like that. And I support the waiver program 110%. In fact, we maybe even add to it based upon the amount of geese and other problematic critters we have in the area. I mean, we're also trying to keep a rural, green zone area in Harrison with their new comprehensive plan. And that would include deer management, critter management and everything else. So I support every landowner sitting on here tonight. 110%. That's my feedback, thanks.
Trustee Baldwin,
We need a motion to table.
Yes.
Kevin, we need a motion to table. Do you want a timeline or? You're gonna need more than a month or?
Can't answer that at this stage, but I think this would qualify for this season, and if anything, we would adopt it as the next season, next hunting season for like the new year, so in case it does take us a little bit more time, so those of you that have gone through the process in the past, you can come forward and still do that. And we'll look at pushing this out for if we do adopt something differently, pushing the adoption date out a little bit, like for the next hunting season or the next time frame. But
Which is the second weekend in September.
There's
one hunting.
So it's like
Labor,
no,
2020.
2026.
2023.
What Labor Day starts, use?
So maybe it starts, I don't know, January 1 or February 1 or something. So we have some time. Let's do this right, and we'll communicate with everybody probably through social media and our website. And so keep your ears peeled to that, and let everyone's contact information, but we will come up with some kind of solution that works for.
Which, by the way, I want to tell you, I was over a flock of toms over on State Park or whatever. Anyway. Trustee Brandmeyer,
I can make a motion to table this till next year.
A second.
so we got a motion by trustee Brandmeyer and a second by trustee Baldwin to table this until next year,
2026.
2026. Any further discussion? Can we use this for voting, or do we have to do a roll call? You can use this? Okay. All right, go ahead and vote your ballot. Again, the motion is to table. Motion table.
I had a question, this says amendment, so. If we're gonna table this till next, let's say 20 February or January 26th, will it not be discussed until January?
No, it'll be discussed prior. It probably will mean that it won't be effective until January 1st.
Okay.
So let the staff put something together. He's got some more time he bought himself to figure this out and work with the landowners in the area. Yes.
I just wanna thank the staff and the board for taking all this into consideration. That's very, very big.
Yep, that's what our role is here.
I would say the same, I really appreciate it. Yeah, so thank you.
Please use the resources we have. We have an excellent young man that was born here, educated here, and I'm so proud of that young man. He's won national awards for his work in DNR. And to me, Ryan is a gem to have in this community. Use them.
Trustee Van Hefty. Oh, no. Trustee Lancaster, you want to say something?
Yeah, can we actually roll call vote this? I feel more comfortable in this being how this is worded in here, and this is an official record with your tablet. I just don't want down the road people misinterpreting what we've done here tonight. So I would prefer to not vote for this on our tablet and roll call vote this.
All right, fine, we're gonna do a roll call vote. Trustee Lancaster.
Aye on the table.
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Hi.
All right, so it's official, unanimous to table this until, next year. Next item is 11X.
Yes, this is a special event permit for Meet in the Middle Block Party. Staff recommends removing the special event permit. Absolutely.
Who is this double?
no, right, I'm sure.
All right, looking for a motion and a second on this. Can we combine X and Y together?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we share two different owners, so I'm gonna do those.
All right. Trustee Baldwin.
Motion to approve the special event permit for meeting the middle block person.
So we got a motion by trustee Baldwin and a second by trustee, any discussion on this one?
Yes.
If not, go ahead and vote your ballot.
Get the other one, get.
I refreshed, my whole thing and it worked, clear it. That's what I did.
But over. This is.
Did the refresh on top of the browser.
This is the refresh. Well, this is for the last one.
Yeah.
Now we're just creating roll call. So.
The refresh up in the browser, really present what I hear.
We got. Tablets are more complicated than computers, right? And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have 11Y.
This is special event permit for Brody Nippus for Brodazopa Sound Garden, and staff recommends approving the special event permit allowing August events to occur.
Trustee Brentmeyer,
So moved.
we got a motion by trustee Brentmeyer. Trustee Baldwin,
Second,
we got a second by trustee Baldwin. Any discussion? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have 11Z.
this is resolution V 2025-14 designating public depository and authorizing withdrawal of municipal funds. And the motion is to approve resolution V 2025-14 designating public depository and authorizing withdrawal of municipal funds to add Megan Winkler as village clerk.
Motion and a second by anyone? Trustee Theo,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution V 2025-14 designating public depository. And authorizing withdrawal of municipal funds to add Megan Winkler as village clerk.
trustee Baldwin.
Second,
We have a motion by trustee Theo and a second by trustee Baldwin. Any discussion? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. So Megan, you have some more responsibility.
you don't have to send the paperwork.
That's not me. 11AA.
This is the approval of artificial intelligence AI and online resources policy for the Village of Harrison employees. And the motion is to approve the artificial intelligence AI and online resources policy for the Village of Harrison employees.
Trustee Baldwin,
Motion to approve the AI and online resources policy for the Village of Harrison employees.
trustee Van Happy.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by trustee Baldwin and a second by trustee Van Happy. Any discussion? Trustee Lancaster.
So this policy's good. One question I have is that we have any discussion with our administrator and to make sure we're protecting village information to have segregated AI such as with Microsoft Copilot. I know you can segregate where you can utilize AI and the powers of AI, but have it be segregated that your information is not used to train AI.
So our intent is to contract with an outside vendor as a recommendation from the insurance company, so like Income AI or somebody like that, so we would have a little bit more protection over the information, and it's just not out there for everybody to see. So we've talked to them, and we've been talking to Calumet County because they're going through the same thing. So they're negotiating a contract with I think GovAI, so that seems to be recommended for government agencies, so let's see if we can piggyback off of them. Okay,
Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, go ahead and vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up is 11EE.
This is the step regarding releasing a request for proposal to obtain a commercial broker for Harrison Commerce Park, and this is just for discussion only.
Okay, Chad, take it away.
So what I'm hoping to do is, what I wanted to do is just explain the reason for this, and then the if the board has consensus that it's something you could support if it came back to you, I would go out and issue a request for proposals to find a broker to represent the village. And the reason I believe that that's needed is because a lot of franchise and more commercially based businesses, the kind of the ones dealing every day, people, they pretty much work with brokers, and brokers only talk to brokers. So I can call him until I'm blue in the face if we want to try to get, say, a cousin sub in this thing or something of that sort. So I think having a broker to kind of cast a wider net and get the information out there will behoove us. Now, the challenge is we're gonna obviously pay commission to do that. But I think they have the connections that I'm kind of coming up dead against. I'm trying to find who to get in touch with, who represents these types of businesses. So I think it would behoove us to do that, but I don't want to release a request for proposals if the board isn't on board with something like this.
Trustee Lancaster.
Thank you. Definitely on board with where you're trying to go here. My only comment would be, I don't know how you get the wording right in a proposal, request for proposal that you would send out. But I do like that you still want to go over a local business owner. So I think it's just important that we really have it worded that it's not an exclusive right to market. So that way, if you have a business owner you're working with, especially local, that we're not paying commission on that, if you've done the work, that it's, if they bring the business to us, we're willing to pay commission for them bringing what work they've done for us, but.
So I had in my previous job, I've done something similar to this, and we, in the contracting process, we specified that out, that if they came directly to the municipality and we worked hand in hand with them, the broker would not get commission, but any leads that they brought forward that ultimately ended up at something, we would then pay commission, so we can do that very easily.
Thank you.
Trustee Baldwin.
Thank you. I support it too. Have we had any interest, or how much interest I should say?
So we have one, that the board has a letter of intent that the board has previously approved from Scott DeWitt for a multi-tenant center. I'm working with 2, possibly 3 other entities, that are looking to build, businesses, kind of, I'll just say professional service related businesses. But I know that there's a real interest in the neighborhood for some type of restaurant, and I think that's where this could come into play, because you gotta find the right person that, willing to take on a restaurant or be a franchise or something of that sort.
Okay, thanks.
So this being a discussion, do we as a board then approve of a commercial poker?
Yeah, I don't know that you're necessarily approving, but is the general consensus that that's the direction the board could support, and if it is, I will continue forward.
Yes.
Yes, I would support that.
Yes.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments on this particular topic? Otherwise, we'll move to 11CC.
This is the 2024 financial statements, and the motion is to approve the 2024 financial statements and audit prepared by CLA.
Trustee Theo.
So moved.
Trustee Brentmeyer. No second. So we have a motion by trustee Theo and a second by trustee Brentmeyer. Any discussion? And actually, I gotta commend the staff with the team changeover and staff. We still have our audit and we're not too far off from schedule on getting this audit released in our financial statements. So good job. I know that it wasn't too long ago where we were battling 2 years behind in our audits stuff and all that stuff. So good job. Thanks for.
I'll just make a comment too that we haven't gotten the actual binders or binded financial statements. They should be coming anytime soon. So some, I'll make sure one of you guys is.
I've had many sleepless nights. I need something.
Lost their copies.
All right, so that being said, and no more discussion, let's go ahead and vote our ballot on this one. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have 11 D.
This is the 2026 budget calendar, and the motion is to approve the 2026 budget calendar presented.
Trustee Ben Happy,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2026 budget calendar.
trustee Brennmeyer.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by trustee Ben Happy and a second by trustee Brennmeyer for the budget calendar. Any discussion?
What I would just say is in the past, the board had slotted 2 potential meetings to discuss this. We're hoping that we can do it in one. We have a draft of we have a capital improvements program that was approved last year, so we will just be working on updating it and adding some additional years. And then looking at the home paving plan based on the new PACER ratings. So there will be some changes recommended, but overall, we've got a framework, so it should be very easy and efficient to kind of move forward and just have one meeting to discuss this stuff.
Excellent, thank you. Trustee Lancaster.
Just as far as the couple of workshops, are we looking at a 6 o'clock time or an earlier time, or what do you? If you don't know the answer right now, it's fine, but just if you need us a little earlier, and the rest of my board members are okay with that, to give us a little more time, just if we get some notice ahead of time.
Yeah, I guess we could go either way. I know right now, obviously, the next board meeting we have is August 26th, and that's where the board visioning is set. So I know I put like a 5 o'clock before the board meeting start time on that, just to make sure there was enough time. Obviously, if we need to coordinate a different time, that's fine. It's just tough right now to know if we want to try to keep it on the same night as our normal board meetings, just for staffing availability plus board availability. We would start at 5, but if needed, we could start later. It's just tough to know how many items are on the agenda. So if we do start some of the budget items starting at 6, I'd hate, for people to be here till 10 or, whatever the time is. So we can work around that, but the hope was maybe to start at 5 if possible, but if not, we can figure things out too.
Well, actually, that's what I was going at, is starting at 5, I mean, that 26 is fine, I guess what I'm more asking was like on September 30th, whatever, are you looking at a 5 or something on that is what I was.
I noticed that after that there wasn't a time, because that's actually our normal board meeting. I was hoping of 5 o'clock, but like I said, if that doesn't work for others, I know obviously, some people obviously work still, so we can kind of work through that too, but we just want to make sure we allow enough time that we can get through the items. Like I said, we do have another date on there for October 7th if needed, but if possible, it would be great to be able to get everything done in one meeting. Like I said, we do have one allotted, so we can work through that once it comes, if we need to coordinate some schedules.
I mean, it's only July, so we'll have at least 2 months here to talk to your wife and schedule your.
I'm good with earlier, that's why I was asking the question, so if I know it's earlier, then I can plan accordingly.
Yeah, if August 26th at 5 o'clock works, we can always circle back at the next meeting just to verify some times at the once moving forward.
Okay, go ahead and vote your ballot. All right, the budget calendar is approved unanimously. Next up is 11 E.
This is a credit card contract with certified payments by Deluxe, and the motion is to approve the contract provided by certified payments. I will mention, this is obviously my item on the agenda. I have had Andy Rasmussen review the contract prior. He did ask that they modify it and put some indemnification language in there, which they have came back and done. So you'll see that obviously listed in there now. But basically, we're just looking to move forward with a different credit card provider. They can provide lower transaction fees and also allow us to hopefully get a little more online with some of our payments, because they do offer $1 e-check payment, which is lower than what we're currently using, and we only use that right now for tax payments. And also this provider will integrate with the Ascent tax software, so that's going to save staff time, because this past year we took in about $1 million worth of credit card payments alone just for taxes, and all those payments had to be entered by staff. So it will integrate with our tax software, which will alleviate staff time input for those, and then hopes that after we get it implemented during tax time, we can look at what other services we potentially can do custom pages on online to give some of our residents versus, coming into Village Hall if they can't make it, but we're gonna try to get it ready for tax season and let's see what we can do.
I think for $1, I think 20 E shows really valuable. My only question is that I recently went on the DOT website to upgrade my vehicle registration. And it had on there your three choices, you know, payment, and it had the e-check, which they said is zero charge. If you use currently, you gotta pay a fee, or if you used some other method, I can't remember, they charge a fee that the e-check was zero fee, so I'm like, okay, now it's $1.
Sometimes some of the places will like eat the cost of it. Obviously, most times municipalities don't want to do that just because depending on, I guess, the transaction, you're not always transacting with exactly residents. And then, of course, in some way, shape or form, right? Like they're going to be paying for it through tax dollars because that's going to be an expense. And actually, there's a lot of new softwares now that they do to try to eliminate non-sufficient funds prior to the transaction going through. So with that dollar, you know, if people consistently don't have bad checks, if it's what it is, but online, that it would be flagged and almost like a credit card, you could prevent that payment from going through, which then is less transacting issues on our end, and then us having to charge a non-sufficient funds fee and all of that. So there's a lot of new technology to, you know, I've used a couple others, but the way everything's split with credit cards and more online payments, these services have to charge something, you know, otherwise.
Well, for I think it's wonderful. I mean, no, I don't like coming down here and pay my taxes already.
You know, understandable, and we did I try to negotiate as best as possible, and like I said, that 2.5% credit card is less. They're providing a terminal to us for free, that if someone comes in, they can
Oh, I didn't.
use Google or Apple Pay, it's all touch, all of that,
That's
so.
nice.
Yep.
Trustee Lancaster.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the contract provided by Certified Payments. And then I just wanna make a note, I wanna commend Melissa for all your hard work and other staff help you as well. I thank them too. I think that's the start of Melissa in the right direction, that's for sure. Especially with the integration of tax software, for that thinking, good job doing that research, and I'm looking forward to next year then. After tax season or whatever they have, dog licenses, yard waste stickers, all those kind of things that people can do online. And there was a question about all covered things too, and when we get some of that could help with some of those discussions as well. So great job.
Trustee Lemon. Oh, so good. So got a motion by trustee Lancaster, a second by trustee Bremmeyer. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, please vote your ballot. And the motion passes unanimously. Next up, 11 double F.
This is open discussion and consideration of request from Hidden Haven LLC to discuss possible incentives and possible sale of land for commercial development prior to potentially going into closed session to discuss strategy and bargaining authority for the village manager / planner to use in negotiation of the developer's agreement. And the motion is to proceed into closed session to discuss the requested incentive for the project.
Okay, Chad, take it away.
So, the last time the board met, there was some discussion on looking at, restricting or limiting the amount of land that we end up selling for this development. So, the same plan that's included in the packet, basically is a 10-acre purchase of land from the village and some land, from Gene Frederickson to the south, to make roughly the 20 acres. However, this would leave us with around 10 acres for additional land development along State Highway 55. So the request is to go into closed session and talk about the TIF incentive and some of the updates to the information and the pro forma that was performed on this project and to look at the financials of the deal. So the recommendation is to proceed into closed session.
So I guess first I would ask, what does the board feel about the concept plan first? Is this something that we're okay with? Because I don't want to go in and negotiate anything if the board doesn't feel like this is something that they want to move forward with. So what does the board feel about the site plan? And we can just talk amongst ourselves.
I'm still in favor of taking a look at it and continue on until we have reason to stop. I still think it's a good thing to keep the rural feel and to provide a venue and just again, something different and unique to our village.
Let's see, Lancaster.
So I'm definitely in favor of the concept. I think it definitely to get any traction for the village. I have some serious concerns about what they're asking for, but we can talk about that on closed session since it's bargaining.
So are you able to disclose like what they're looking at for a proposed value of property after they're done? Is that something that we can discuss?
And we had previously stated that this was a $3.9 million project and it stands up to the value today.
And that's over 10 acres?
Yes.
Right. So that being said, I don't know what is the board feel, do we wanna continue on and with this project and negotiate what sort of incentive are we willing to offer? So then, I guess,
So if I just may add a few additional comments, so under this plan, the village would still have to look at putting in. Roadways, Unison Way that was previously planned. There would be, the need for some sort of dialogue with DOT for the, road to come out into 55. But I think all in all, this plan, as modified is a win-win for us because it does allow the frontage on State 55 to still be another commercial, industrial, like commercial use. I think the stormwater pond is already there for the development site. There's just some things we need to work through on access. But all in all, I think it gives us a value to kind of maximize this 20 acres and get two developments that, will generate a good tax value for the TIF district. So I think there's some merit in continue for.
so what are we on the site plan on the hook for building for a roadway? Is it the circle part?
Yeah, it's this piece here that comes off.
Oh, I see, okay, okay. All right,
Because the DOT isn't gonna allow this to just come out onto a 55, so service kind of road that can be expanded.
I thought that was 55, so that was just my eyes being bugged.
Yeah, this is 55 on the front here, and then.
Yeah,
we have-
and you got a little side road there, okay, so we're on the hook for that little side road.
Yes.
I got it. Gotcha. Okay. So. I guess we're done with the open items here, and before we go into closed session, is there any future agenda items that anybody wants to add? Trustee Lancaster.
President Pansky, are we gonna have a motion to go into closed session?
As soon as we get done with the the items, 12, 13, and 14 will be closed session. So item 12, Trustee Lancaster.
Thank you, so. I know we got funded stuff and a lot of work for, not use how much at one time, so that's perfectly fine. I just wondered if we could put some target dates around the tree policy and reviewing the sidewalk policy for new subdivisions, and when we finish after budget, that's fine. Just so that we know, or we can put some target of when we might look at it on here, so as we carry this forward, we know what people are asking me, so we know what we're gonna kind of talk about it. And then people that might wanna come down here to your discussions, they know when that come up. Also, I would, if the trustee Baldwin and trustee Brandmeier who put the tree policy on here, are okay with this. I really believe that both those items should be discussed kind of together, because I believe the sidewalks directly affect Harris area and directly affect how much perceived room someone has in their front yard. And has a direct impact on trees that way as well.
So I'm good with whatever the board wants. I'm gonna need some direction on what. I think an open discussion, we can put on the next agenda if you want, or the one after that. We just need to know when you wanna talk about it, and I'm gonna need some direction. What each of you are thinking.
I would prefer when we have a later schedule. Cause I'm sure this topic will take a lot of time. So if it,
Wanna wait till January?
Why you got it, August 30, like in the double letters already?
You don't know where to be certain, why you just makes this so they don't. You.
I'm gonna leave it to your discretion, but I want to suggest that. If it's. You put it in
Let's see,
two,
let's see if we have a later agenda and we'll put it on for a later agenda.
And that's what I'm just looking for, is just, we need to have a discussion as a board and staff first. To even talk about what we may want or not go before you even do any, I'm asking, there should be no legwork, we should have a discussion first, okay, so
Okay.
I feel.
trustee Bowden.
Alright, it's for them.
All right, any more on future agenda items? If not, we're going to future meetings. Here's your list of future meetings, August 13th, board review. August 13th is the flight night, drone night. We have the August 26th, August board meeting. September 30th is the board meeting for September, and then October 28th, board meeting. That being said,
I will state that the drone night and the order review is the same time, but the order review gets done in time for the drone still. There's probably some trustees that we're still gonna have a booth. We've got some freebies and stuff to hand out, so if other trustees are able to make it that aren't on the board of review, would wanna come to the night for the flight night at 6:30, that would be great. And then we understand that the trustees that are on the board of review probably can't get there till that meeting is.
Scott, can I ask a question?
sure.
As an overseer, again, I watch the meetings that I can't be in, and that's fine. All the staff is doing a fantastic job, and to a point that I think some of them are overworked. Why my Todd's name was George Harrison in the real estate business. Do we make that? I mean,
That's why we got a commercial broker, and that's why we're offloading that from him.
I'm selling land in Village of Harrison, and I just can't see why. It's always been and I never asked this question before. It's always been a personal. People, me, why are you guys competing with the realtor?
We're not competing with the realtor. What I would say is that most of the time municipalities have some level of business park land that they sell off. And you don't see a lot of private people doing commercial business park developments. Typically, that ends up being municipalities because it's very difficult to make the numbers to work when you're trying to give away land to food businesses. We have the flexibility because we can put it into a TIF district and pay for it over time.
But you can put anything into a TIF district. All you have to do is vote on and agree on it.
Yeah, but there's requirements on what kind of TIF you can't put it on residential.
Understandable. That's totally understandable. The land is land, commercial is commercial. You could put, if you guys agree on putting something into a TIF district, you can do it whether you want it or not. And take that away from the realtor and personal landowner and give them more money. I'm sorry, we'll understand.
Well, they're telling us what they need, and we pretty much.
We're not having an issue with it.
Because land sells really well as long as you put the incentives in it. So I mean, that I can't figure it. Why are you guys want?
They would like to recruit businesses and nobody was building businesses before this. And there's a real focus of the board to diversify the tax base through commercial development.
If it was that easy to put up commercial, we'd have a lot of it, and that's what has been the problem over the last, I would say, probably 2 decades, is there's just not a lot of effort toward it. So what we decided to do is put an effort toward it and bring in jobs and diversify the tax base. So I'm just gonna keep it at that, I guess.
Okay, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why you want that. I really don't. And commercial people haven't experienced with commercial people, when they want something, they just get it. When we're, that's, if you don't want to sell it, they up the office.
Well, the thing is, you gotta remember, competing against Appleton, Menasha, Cannon.
Wait,
I know, but we still have to compete against that unless we're the last person with land capital, then come over, right? So we gotta.
I understand, but it's like if I was milking cows yet, and milking my 60 cows and I wanted to go in another business besides. No, I don't want the headache. And that's what I'm seeing here.
All right,
It's an
so,
observation.
gotcha. You dropped something.
Oh, whatever, yeah.
All right, let's, go on to full second, so can. Who's reading the? Thanks
for listening.
Unless you want me to.
I got it, Chair. The board may convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.851E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the investment of public funds wherever needed or bargaining reasons required. Session specifically to discuss strategy and bargaining authority to be used by the village manager in negotiations over potential incentives in terms of development agreement with Hidden Haven LLC.
All right, let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break here. before we- Oh, sorry, we got a motion and a second, I'm sorry. Trustee Baldwin,
I'll make a motion to go on closed session.
trustee Van Happy.
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second, let's do a roll call, trustee Lancaster.
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, we are now in